delivery driver is found dead in the Central West End.
The victim was found in an alley early this morning. Fox 2's Chad Mira joins us now. Chad, police say they believe this shooting happened hours earlier.
That's right, Mandy. Shirley, police had actually been to the same area last night around 9 p.m. for shots fired, but they had no idea at the time that someone had actually been shot. The case developed very quickly throughout the day today, and just a couple hours ago, charges have now been filed against the suspect.
You know that feeling when someone you love doesn't come home and their phone just keeps ringing? That's exactly what Jardyn Walker's sister felt on the night of January 20th, 2026. She was waiting at the Amazon warehouse in Hazelwood, Missouri, like they planned. Her brother was supposed to meet her there after his delivery shift so she could give him a ride home. But Jardyn never showed up, and when she called his phone, it just rang and rang. By the next morning, the 23-year-old delivery driver known to everyone as Pee-wee was found dead in an alley, his body riddled with bullets. But here's what makes this case absolutely chilling. The man accused of killing him was already in police custody before anyone even knew Jardyn was dead. Let that sink in for a second. If you're new to Mystoracrimes, do me a favor real quick. Hit that like button. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to click the bell icon so you never miss when we drop these deep dives into real cases that'll keep you up at night. Share this with someone who loves true crime as much as you do. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one, because what happened to Jardyn Walker is more twisted than you might think. So let's talk about who Jardyn really was. This wasn't just some random guy. Pee-wee, as everyone called him, was living his dream. Just a year before his death, he'd appear on a Zeus Network reality show called 2 Ways with Erica Mena. Yeah, that Erica Mena. He was competing for her heart on this dating show. And for what his castmates said, he was the light of the whole production, always cracking jokes, keeping everyone's spirits up, making people laugh even when the cameras weren't rolling. His co-star Selena Powell said he was genuinely meant to be a star, and even after filming Wrapped, they all stayed in touch. That's the kind of person he was. But on January 20th, 2026, Jardyn was just doing what he did every day, working his Amazon delivery route around the University City area of St. Louis. It was a Tuesday, probably seemed like any other shift. He was out there making deliveries, trying to earn a living, probably thinking about meeting his sister later that night. What they didn't know was that before the sun came up the next morning, his family would be identifying his body in an alley. Now, I need you to pay close attention to the timeline here, because this is where things get really strange. Around 8:45 p.m. that Tuesday night, police in University City got a call about shots fired on Whittier Street. Pretty routine call for them, unfortunately. Gunshots in the city, officers respond, check it out. But when they got to the area, they saw a car speeding away from the scene. Now think about this from the officer's perspective. They just got a shots fired call, and here's someone fleeing the area at high speed. So they did what any cop would do. They pulled the car over about half a mile away at Boyle Avenue and Lindell Boulevard. And this is where it gets absolutely crazy. Sitting in the passenger seat was a 27-year-old man named Jamal Lamont Jones. And you know what was between his legs? An assault rifle. Not hidden, not stashed away, just right there between his legs. When the officers searched him, they found shell casings in his pockets. Actual shell casings from fired rounds, just sitting in this man's pockets. So the police are looking at this guy, and they ask him what's going on. And Jones, he doesn't deny anything. He straight up tells them he was in fear of his life, and that he'd fired a weapon. Just admitted it right there on the spot. Now, at this point, the officers are thinking they've got someone on weapons charges, maybe assault, who knows? But here's the thing that'll make your skin crawl. They had no idea someone was lying dead in an alley just blocks away. No idea at all. Meanwhile, Jardyn's sister is at that Amazon facility, checking her watch, calling her brother's phone over and over. Where is he? This isn't like him. He's never late, never just doesn't show up. Something's wrong. She knows it in her gut. So she does what any concerned sister would do. She calls the University City Police and reports her brother missing. Now, the police start putting pieces together, but it's still just pieces at this point. They've got Jamal Jones in custody with a rifle and shell casings. They got a shots fired call from Whittier Street. They've got a missing delivery driver who should have been at work but never made it to his pickup spot. But nobody's connected these dots yet. It's not until around 1 a.m. on Wednesday morning, hours after Jones was already in custody, that University City Police asked St. Louis Metropolitan Police for help. They need to find this missing delivery driver, and they've got a way to do it. Jardyn's cell phone. They start tracking where his phone is pinging, and it leads them right back to Olive Street and Whittier Street, the same area where those shots were fired. Officers start searching, and that's when they find him, in an alley behind a building in the 500 block of Whittier Street. They discovered Jardyn's body, multiple gunshot wounds. He'd been lying there for hours while his sister waited, while his phone rang, while police had a suspected killer already locked up, not knowing what they really had. The medical examiner pronounced him dead at the scene. But we still haven't talked about the why, have we? Why was Jardyn even on Whittier Street that night? This is what makes this case so heartbreaking. He was supposed to be working, right? Making his deliveries, finishing his route, meeting his sister. But police say he made a personal stop. He went to visit someone at an apartment on Whittier Street, and that someone was connected to Jamal Jones. Here's what investigators pieced together from witnesses. Jardyn and Jamal both ended up in an apartment that belonged to Jamal's brother. They knew each other. This wasn't a random encounter, not a robbery gone wrong, not some stranger danger situation. These two men knew each other and were at this apartment together that Tuesday evening. Jamal's brother later told police what he witnessed, and it's honestly terrifying. He was in his bedroom, probably just minding his business, when suddenly he heard gunshots. Not outside, not down the street, but right there in or near his apartment. He comes rushing out to see what happened, and the apartment is empty. Both Jardyn and Jamal are just gone, vanished. But then, and this is the part that should make you think about how panicked Jamal must have been, Jamal comes running back into the apartment. He's holding an assault rifle in his hands. His brother sees him with this weapon, and before he can even process what's happening, Jamal runs back out and jumps into his sister's car and speeds off. That car, the one Jamal sped off in, that's the same car police spotted fleeing the scene. That's the car they pulled over. That's where they found him with a rifle still between his legs and those shell casings in his pockets. Now, I want you to think about what's going through Jamal's mind at this moment. He's just shot someone and he knows it. He runs back to his brother's apartment, grabs his weapon, takes his sister's car, and tries to get away. But he doesn't get far. Police stop him within minutes. And when they ask him about the weapon and the shooting, he doesn't lawyer up immediately. He doesn't stay silent. He says he was in fear of his life. He admits to firing the weapon. But here's my question for you. If you're really in fear of your life, if you're really defending yourself, why are you running? Why are you fleeing the scene? Why not call 911 yourself and say someone attacked you and you had to defend yourself? And more importantly, where's the threat? When police arrested Jamal, they found Jardyn's body hours later. He was already dead in that alley. So who was Jamal so afraid of that he needed to shoot someone multiple times and then run? The evidence against Jamal Jones started piling up fast. By Wednesday morning, just hours after Jardyn's body was discovered, homicide detectives brought in Jamal's brother for questioning. And this man, he didn't hold back. He told them everything. How both Jardyn and Jamal were at his place that evening. How he heard gunshots as Jardyn was leaving. How Jamal ran back in with that assault rifle looking panicked and desperate. By 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday, Jamal Jones was formally arrested. By that afternoon, the St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office hit him with serious charges: first-degree murder, armed criminal action, and tampering with physical evidence. That last charge is interesting because it tells us Jamal tried to hide evidence or destroy it somehow. What was he trying to hide? What did he do after he shot Jardyn? The police had their case pretty much laid out. They had the weapon. They had the shell casings from Jamal's pockets. They had his own admission that he fired the gun. They had his brother as a witness who heard the shots and saw him with the rifle. They had the vehicle stopped just minutes after the shooting. And they had Jardyn's body in an alley with multiple gunshot wounds that matched the timeline perfectly. Jamal Jones is being held without bond at the St. Louis City Justice Center. His court appearance is scheduled for January 29th, 2026. No bail, no getting out, just sitting in a cell waiting to face what he did. But I haven't told you the most haunting part of this story yet. Remember how I mentioned Jardyn was on that reality show, 2 Ways with Erica Mena? When news broke about his death, Erica Mena posted on her Instagram stories just pictures of Jardyn with broken heart emojis and dove emojis. She wrote, "I'm so sorry," and crushed. This woman who barely knew him compared to his family and friends. Even she was devastated. And here's what's going to absolutely shock you. Jardyn Walker is the second cast member from that show to be murdered. Let me say that again. The second one. Back in September 2024, just after they finished filming the show, another contestant named Savia Hopkins, who went by Seven or Jay Hefner, was shot and killed at a birthday party in Lincoln, Nebraska. He was 24 years old, a devoted father who never missed time with his daughter. 2 cast members from the same reality dating show, both gunned down within months of filming. What are the odds of that? It makes you wonder what kind of lives these young men were living, what kind of situations they were in, what kind of people they were connected to. Was it just tragic coincidence? Or is there something about the world they were navigating that made violence more likely? Meanwhile, there's a woman named Jolanda Hodges who lives right near where Jardyn's body was found. She told reporters she heard something that Tuesday night that she'll probably never forget. She heard someone screaming, "Oh no, oh no," and then gunshots rang out. She didn't think much of it at the time. Sadly, in that neighborhood, gunshots aren't exactly rare. But when she woke up Wednesday morning, her entire house was surrounded by police tape. She walked outside and realized the body everyone was talking about had been found in the alley right next to her backyard.
It's crazy, because nothing happens over here.
Jolanda Hodges was shocked to find out someone was killed just feet away from her home. Hodges says she heard gunshots Tuesday night and then saw police cars lining the street outside her house hours later.
They had the tape around our house, around our cars, and then I was looking out the window and I saw that they had tape back by the church. And I was like, well, what happened? I heard what sounded like somebody screaming to me. I was, like somebody was saying, "Oh no, this is our property," and that was close. So it's like, did somebody actually commit a murder at my house?
The screams she heard, those were probably Jardyn's last moments. Someone begging for their life, knowing what was about to happen. Think about Jardyn's last moments for a second. He'd stopped by to see someone he knew. Maybe they were friends. Maybe they had some kind of business together. We don't know, but he knew Jamal. He trusted him enough to be in that apartment. And then something happened. We don't know what triggered it. Was it an argument? A disagreement about money? Something from their past? Did Jardyn say something that set Jamal off? Whatever it was, it escalated to the point where Jamal grabbed an assault rifle and opened fire. Jardyn tried to get away. Maybe he made it to the door. Maybe he was running down the stairs. Maybe he thought he could escape. But those bullets found him. And instead of calling for help, instead of trying to save him, Jamal ran back into that apartment, grabbed his weapon, and fled the scene, leaving Jardyn to bleed out alone in a dark alley. For hours, Jardyn lay there while his sister called his phone, while his family wondered where he was, while the city moved on around him, people walking by, cars driving past, maybe some of them just feet away from where he took his last breath. So let me ask you something. And I really want you to think about this. What makes someone you know, someone you spend time with, pick up a weapon and decide your life is worth nothing? What level of anger or fear or desperation drives that choice? And after you made that choice, after you've taken someone's life, how do you live with yourself? How do you sleep knowing someone's family will never see them again because of what you did? Jamal Jones told police he was in fear of his life. But Jardyn Walker is dead and Jamal is alive. So whose life was really in danger that night? What do you think happened in that apartment? Drop your theories in the comments. Do you think this was self-defense like Jamal claimed, or was there something else entirely? Make sure you subscribe to Mystoracrimes and hit that notification bell, because we'll be following this case all the way through trial. Like this video if you want to see more deep dives like this, and share it with your true crime community. Justice for Jardyn Walker, starts with people caring enough to pay attention. Let's make sure his story isn't forgotten.